Hello everybody and welcome back to another Mechabellum tournament video, I guess. Today is October 5th and we're looking at Chemtrails versus Dry Leaves. Some interesting specialist choices. For those who don't know, when you're offered a specialist, you know your opponent doesn't have that specialist. So let's say that you see that you have the marksman specialist and the rhino and the farseer and blah, blah, blah. Let's say you have this hand down here. You know that your opponent has all of the opposite hands, so you can try and make a decision based off that. So if you have all of the deployable units, maybe getting the marksman specialist isn't so great because you won't need that high-ranking marksman that early in the game because your opponent won't have any drop-down units. In this case, Chemtrails came in with the saber-toothed specialist and Dry Leaves has the farseer on round 3. Probably my favorite specialist right now. I just really like farseers. I think they're strong units. Looks like Dry Leaves is setting up for a headbutt. It's a coin I termed like a year ago. It just describes this playing only one side of the field. It's quite good, especially if your opponent doesn't have a very aggressive army, or they don't have Stormcallers. Stormcallers in the early game does make defending against a headbutt considerably easier, especially against slow-moving units like tanks, Fang, those types of things. So I think that Dry Leaves has a very good setup for an early game headbutt because he has some very fast units and some good damage dealing units in the form of these steel balls. You just need one steel ball to connect with the research center for like 5 to 10 seconds and then they're hot to trot. They can just decimate everything. I'm also playing with a new microphone setup just because I did receive a comment saying, hey, your stuff was a little tinny, or like a little vacuumy or whatever it was. So I built a box to try and make this work a little bit better. This tarantula is going to be doing so much work. Able to kill off the vast majority of these crawlers and distract these steel balls. Wow, that worked out really well. This is why those arc lights are so powerful in the backline though. Just able to keep those crawlers offline for a good amount. Will this tarantula die? Probably not. In fact, this arc light was able to eat that entire unit of crawlers. That's quite good. Well, that probably did not go the way that Chemtrails was hoping for. Luckily, when you know that a headbutt is incoming, you kind of know your style of play. It's a little bit harder to play as the aggressor than it is defensively, at least from my perspective. Because you know where all of your enemy's units are. They have this whole field that is now open for you to counterattack on. These crawlers obviously aren't doing too much. This guy was able just to clean them all up. Clean up something. 24 units. I focused really heavily on this flank. Extended range on the arc lights for Dry Leaves, I think is a great choice here. Just because he's going to be able to clear out these crawlers even quicker. And potentially shoot any Fang that are used to kind of slow this down. So probably placing a unit of Fang here for Chemtrails would be very powerful. Chemtrails does pick up the missile. Yep, there's the Fang. If he wants to, he could potentially damage a lot of these units. It's not going to be great. More chaff here for Dry Leaves. I think the chaff is a good choice for both players at this point. The Sabertooth is going to make a big difference here, though. The Sabertooth should be able to one-shot these unupgraded steel balls. It will suffer against these level 2, but against the level 1, it won't have much difficulty. I'm surprised that Chemtrails didn't pick up an arc light of his own, though. These tarantulas do become much more powerful once they unlock the spider mines as well. Probably the most pivotal upgrade. Instead, he chooses to recycle one of them. We don't see tarantulas stick around too much. Instead, upgrades the command center. Perfect. He's just going to abandon this. There's nothing on this flank that can really deal with it. Not a bad choice. Doing a lot of damage to these units. I don't know if it will make too much of a difference, as most of the things attacking them will kill them in 1 or 2 shots anyways. It helps. It actually helped that sniper take it out and the tarantula deal some damage, so not bad. This arc light is not killing, or these arc lights are not killing the crawlers on round or in a single shot anymore. And that's why we saw so many of those crawlers enter into the battlefield so much quicker. They'll still deal with the Fang without much issue. The Fang only have 177 HP, but this is looking much better for Chemtrails. And this thing, it probably won't die before this gets wiped up. I don't think the Fang have the DPS. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get it. I'd be very surprised. They might, though. Oh, it's getting close. Go, little Fang, go! Oh! It had like 3 HP left. That's crazy. I wish it showed you how much HP a unit had left before, you know, at the end of the round. Whoopsies. Weird bugs going on. Intensive training here for chemtrails. It's early enough in the game that you can make a lot of use of this, especially if you can later pick up the upgrade module just to start upgrading and selling units very quickly. I like that a lot. Early game Vulcan here for chemtrails. Does he grab the Vulcan with range very quickly? If he does, he's in an extremely good spot. Or does he choose to upgrade it? He has the cat, or he does not have the cash anymore. He could upgrade these Marksmen, though. Marksman Vulcan or Vulcan Phoenix are a very, very good unit composition. Does this Vulcan have the ability to summon more? He does, the best partner. So what you can do is upgrade these Marksmen very heavily, you know, with things like the electromagnetic shot, or really any upgrade is great with them. And then when your Vulcan spawn those marksmen, let's say it's a level 3 Vulcan, it's spawning a level 3 marksman that has all of those upgrades. That's very powerful. Wow, this is a level 3, or no, level 2 marksman now. He has the special, is that the Gilded Marksman? It looks kind of cool. Like a Spec Marine. Celestial Lion, that is. There's the Farseer for Dry Leaves. He did grab the Elite Fang. Interesting. Well, those guys are going to be in a bad place. 172 damage, 351 HP. Not bad. Okay. This looks like it could work. Good, great job on getting rid of those early game Fang. I don't know if it will be enough for Dry Leaves. It really depends on how many units come into contact with this Vulcan. The Vulcan is going to be key. If all of these important steel balls die, oh yeah, then there really isn't anything here that can deal with this Vulcan. I think that's it, really. Vulcan will just have so much HP, and also be able to deal a considerable amount of damage, just because it has this Scorching Flame. If it can get to level 2, that would be insane. Probably will. Oh, very close. It'd be disappointing for him if it does not. It might be able to move into range here, though, and grab a couple more kills. We'll have to watch it. Oh, yep, level 2 Vulcan. He could potentially push that up to level 3 with that bonus to, or with that upgrade ability. Yeah, he didn't use it. 2 Stormcallers here for Dry Leaves. Chemtrails likes to think about it a little bit. That melting point is quite nice, but 2 Stormcallers for $50 at level 2 is probably the best bang for your buck. That's $400 plus the unlock, $500 for only a $50 price. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's a spicy meatball. These Stormcallers are going to be quite good here, though, for Chemtrails. Wasps are not super useful for Chemtrails either. Dry Leaves, I was saying, it should be quite good for the Stormcallers. Okay, I like this positioning. And a Fortress. The Fortress will cut down on a lot of that damage. Unfortunately, Fortresses don't deal the most damage when they first come out. They really are used for this utility in their upgrades. Most Giants aren't great until they unlock 1 or 2 of their utility things. Okay, selling another unit, grabbing some more Fang. Oh, this will work. This will buy the Vulcan more time. There's our second Vulcan. And it's now level 2. Once these guys get that range increase, they're going to be absolutely deadly. Normally that's our 2 upgrade path, is that you grab the range and you grab the Scorching Flame, or vice versa, and work from there. Chemtrail's still sitting on 150 bucks. This will be an issue for him. I don't know. Oh, instead he chooses to upgrade this core again. Alright, well, there's nothing getting through that core for a while. Vulcans just have to close the distance in such a big way here. They should be able to deal with these steel balls by themselves now, though. They just have enough damage in their flames. Yeah, look at that go. That's why steel balls are not great at dealing with giants, because most of the giants can either one-shot them, something like the Fortress, or have upgrades that deal with steel balls quite quickly. But yeah, this marksman's actually doing quite a good job at just drawing away a lot of enemy fire. Level 2 Stormcallers should be able to make their way through these Vulcan without much issue, especially if nothing is targeting them. There's one level 2 Stormcaller taking them out. Alright, Chemtrails is doing a great job here. He's able just to keep deflecting. That's half the battle. Oh, this poor marksman. Just getting nibbled on. I do like this missile in the backline here for Dry Leaves. He understands that his backline is very vulnerable, but this level 3 command center is not going to go down anytime soon. Subsidized Crawlers is useless. Beacon's okay. Beacon's okay for both players if they want to try and dodge out of the way of some of these Stormcaller shots. We'll have to see where Dry Leaves plays the Beacon, though, given that his units are basically just going head in. Oh, interesting also. I wonder if Chemtrails will sell this Stormcaller. I would be surprised. As well as getting shields on these Fang. Shields would be incredibly powerful. They'd be able to absorb so much more damage and deal with things like this missile, getting hit by a fortress shot. There's nothing quite as good as having your Fang absorb the damage. 6,369 damage coming out of that fortress shot, but it takes 2 seconds to reload. Having your Fang absorb that damage is great. He doesn't have the money for the shield anymore. Interestingly enough, these Fang, I think we're seeing the rise of the Fang. Fang and Fortress. Not something that we see too often, but they might be able to close the distance here. They won't get through that command center anytime soon, but they might be able to close the distance on this flank. I wonder, I was going to say, I wonder if we would see a unit of Vulcan come down on this flank just to protect it. But instead we have some crawlers going forward. They'll buy time. That's not a bad idea. Buy some time, deal whatever damage you need to do, and go from it. Trying to force this fortress in. I wonder if that's the play here. Increase damage, only increase shielding. Alright. See what these level 2 Vulcan can do about these units. These little Fangs shouldn't have any problem tearing through all of these crawlers. May even earn themselves another level here on the left flank. Although one fortress will be able to deal with that eventually. Once these, one Vulcan would be able to deal with that. Once these fortresses unlock their shield, though, those Fang will become considerably more dangerous. Do they Fang have the ability? Yes, they do have Ignite. That's your giant killing ability on Fang. That would be very powerful. And our Sabretooth can also do the missile interception. Interesting, interesting. For the first time, the tower will fall. Will it be enough to get rid of these Vulcan? I don't think so. Yeah, the Vulcan are just a little bit too powerful at this point. And Dry Leaves takes another 2,000 damage? No, not quite. Just under 2,000 damage. Not looking great here for Dry Leaves. Being aggressive in this is going to be difficult. Wow, that level 2 melting point is very powerful for both players. Instead, we see the Rhino here for Dry Leaves. I think he's picking the Rhino. Is he going to go on the flank with it? No, he just sold it. Okay, not a bad choice. That's the most money that you could get per single unit to sell. I like that. That's quite good. I think Chemtrails is wondering whether or not it's worth getting... Yeah. This level 3 Scorpion deals a ton of damage. Oh, instead he opts to sell it. Just to upgrade his already very powerful Vulcan. Is he going to play another Vulcan on this flank, though? He knows that this flank is vulnerable. He even got rid of the marksman on this flank. Instead goes with the Stormcallers. There's 4 fortresses on the field. Neither player picking up the melting point. Very interesting. I guess these Vulcan can deal enough damage within a certain time frame to be similar to a melting point if the fortresses aren't doing well enough to keep up. So let's say that you can get your Vulcan to like level 3, level 4. It's basically a melting point for all intents and purposes at that point. It's dealing 546 damage per 0.1 second. That's insane. Instead, we go with a whole bunch of missile interceptors. Interesting choice. And a range increase. Man, these Vulcan have a ton of range. Will they be able to get through the shields in time is the question. I don't know. I mean, it is dealing splash damage to both shields. That was quite nice. Yeah, it was able to work through about a quarter of those shields in just, like, that much time. The Vulcan is completely ignoring the important units, though, and able to take out some Fang. It will slowly melt through. Oh, it's looking good. There's a lot of Vulcan left. This command center is going to take a long time to die. Maybe not too long, though. It's already under half health, and there's still all 4 fortresses on the field. Oh, well, there goes 3 of them. And there goes the majority of the damage coming out of those Fang. Is it going to be... Oh, it's going to be real close! Man, that was very close. I think if there had been maybe 3 more seconds there, that could have gone the opposite way. Or if there was like a 20% damage increase. Dry Leaves needs to realize this, man. If he can get just like 1 unit of steel balls just to follow this in, he could have melted that command center. Having something that deals damage progressively more as it's online would make a huge difference. Amp core for Chemtrails, yeah, I saw that coming. Probably going to go onto one of these Vulcans. Yep, this guy is now dealing an insane amount of damage. Oh, and he grabs the best partner. Okay. Is that worthwhile at this point? To summon 3 marksmen? I mean, they'll deal a little bit. What is this? The deployment module on the Arclight. Where's that Arclight going? Over to this flank? Yeah, there he is. Oh no, where'd he go? Oh, he's on this flank. Okay, hey, just to pull away some crawlers. Not a bad move. I do like the electromagnetic shot here on the Stormcallers. I don't think it will be enough, though, just because there are enough missile interceptors to knock that out. Both players sitting on a good amount of money here. 40 seconds left. There's the shield on the Fangs. Burning the Midnight Oil, grabbing range on everybody. $100 left. I wouldn't mind seeing a unit of Fangs here just to slow this down a little bit more. It may be worthwhile. I really like this Arclight, though, because if this Vulcan turns, and it is, it might melt that Arclight too quickly, but it might, in theory, help this unit or these units collapse a little bit quicker. $50 gone. It looks like, or all $100 gone. Everybody's in it. This is Dry Leaves' last attempt to break the insane defense here of Chemtrails. Yeah, that Arclight did not last quite enough. The Vulcan just had a little bit too much range. A lot of marksmen, though. Hey, that's a good increase in damage. These little guys got slowed down quite a bit. Vulcan is a little out of place, though. Level 2 marksmen are able to work through these fortresses with a bit of help from the Vulcan. This looks good, though. This might take out that tower a little bit quicker. I don't think it's enough. None of those Stormcaller shots land. And that should be it for old Dry Leaves. Yeah, there's just no damaging these Vulcan. GG. Very defensive play by Chemtrails. Very well done. I think he recognized what the main issue was very quickly and played an extremely good defensive game. This is something that I would take home with me. If you're playing on the ladder and you're seeing a lot of aggressive play, this is a great answer. Very, very good job on building that fort. Alrighty, and to what is probably our semifinals. We have Only Fangs versus Spoon. We've seen Only Fangs and Spoon on the channel before quite a few times. I'm glad to see these guys still in the tournament, still working hard. Only Fangs coming in here with the Typhoon Specialist, some Crawler and Steel Ball. Great combination of units. Good single point damage. Of course, nothing here that flies, so no real issue. You know, I don't think flying units are ever offered in the opening hands anymore. I'm pretty sure they got rid of that maybe 3-4 months ago. A good decision, just because having those flying units could just immediately win you the round, and it felt kind of cheaty. Spoon, I love the Get Good. $50 Supply Specialist. I like the Supply Specialist a lot. I don't think they're very strong. It takes you, what, 4 rounds to get $200? Not great. Not great at all. Let's see what we're doing here, though. Double Fang here for Spoon. I think that's a good choice. He needed a few units just to kind of absorb shots for him, and that's not a bad thing to do. I really like this crazy setup. Only Fangs. I mean, he is a tournament winner, right? He's the Advanced Group Tournament Region number 4. Not bad. He has been in these tournaments a lot. He's won quite a few of these tournaments, if memory serves. I think he would work a little bit better as a headbutt, or at least this army might work a little bit better as a headbutt. But as we saw before, headbutts are very easily countered. Now that's a real problem. I think he's deciding what to do about enemy chaff. If it's crawlers, then Arclights aren't a bad idea. If it's Fang, Arclights aren't a great idea, just because the Fang tend to end right behind these sledgehammers. They'll eventually feed their way through, but given the way that this is set up, the Fang will probably stop right in the ranks of the sledgehammers, which means that these steel balls might choose to shoot at a Fang instead of a sledgehammer. In this case, though, sledges are a little too far forward, and they are going to get caught out and absolutely destroyed here. That actually gives the crawlers the second round of crawlers here a good flow through rate. This could go well on the left flank. Probably not on the right, but these snipers are going to make short work of everything. Good choice, the marksman. I do like having an opening hand with marksman in it. I do think that stormcallers are considerably stronger. You know, if these had been 3 units of stormcallers, which you can't get in the early game, but if they were, only Fangs would have been absolutely destroyed. Oh, interesting. A level 2 Sabretooth for only $50. That could be a lot of money if a player chooses to sell it. We'll have to see if Only Fangs... Yeah, he does choose to sell the steel balls. Instead is using a Sabretooth. Okay. And it looks like... What did we pick up here? Ah, this level 3... or level 1 Scorpion. Okay. I do find it fun that players are able to change the colors on all of their units. Normally this kind of like reddish hue is given for level 3 units on the standard color palette. So now having your units look like that can throw enemies off. It definitely throws me off. I'm colorblind and not very smart. So having your units suddenly be a different color can be very frustrating for me. I think OnlyFangs has realized that just having a lot of crawlers here is a very good choice. If he can overwhelm the sledgehammers, which were acting as the majority of the ranged damage, then he should be in a good spot here. The Scorpions will help a lot, though. They're going to be able to kill off steel balls extremely quickly. They'll be able to kill off the level 2 Sabretooth fairly quickly. So, just because they do good AoE damage, and there really isn't anything here that can deal with these marksmen. I guess the Sabretooth isn't a bad choice, but it's never going to be able to close in time. Now, this is looking very good here for Spoon. Being a more defensive player is nice. Just having those units race in and get shot first. Problem that OnlyFangs is having is that Spoon has a definitive ranged advantage. There comes OnlyFangs Typhoons, though. Will it be enough? Wasp Swarm could be very powerful here for Spoon as well. I think OnlyFangs has realized it, and that's why he had to pick up the Wasp Swarm. Not having any aerial units really does mess with your play. Just because now OnlyFangs was forced to kind of pick up these wasps just to try and defend. He only has 1 unit that can do any ground-to-air fire. And I like that Spoon is just building himself a nice little fort. He's got his damage dealers, he's got a good amount of chaff. He's just going to let these enemy units flow in, deal with them slowly but assuredly, and continue forward. Now, Scorpions do actually have a lot of HP, so I do like the extra heavy armor on them. OnlyFangs is really going to try and push this in. I think getting a couple of units of Stormcallers would be very powerful, as they'd be able to hammer this front line very, very quickly. They'd outrange everything, or potentially transitioning into something that can deal a little bit more AoE in the form of a couple more arc lights. But he knows the game much better than I, so we'll see what he does. I think that this is a great upgrade here by Spoon, though. Getting that extra damage just means that this Scorpion, or these 2 Scorpions, should be able to work through the Sabretooths that much quicker. About 12% quicker. These Wasps aren't going to do anything, though. They're alone and without a prayer. There's way too many Fang on the field, and there isn't enough wave clear here for OnlyFangs. These guys did a good job, though. Typhoons able to clear away a lot of Fang here on the left. Not enough on the right, but obviously there weren't any Typhoons there. Actually, those Typhoons did extremely well. Maybe there's something to that. These Fang obviously didn't do very well, but interesting. Once these Typhoons have either the barrier or mechanical rage, they could really put in some hurt. Level 2 snipers, though, are able to take care of most everything, and that should be that. Blammo. Cool. Can OnlyFangs bring this back? I do love to see a good comeback kid. It's round 4. He's lost every single round except possibly the first one I don't remember. Ooh, sticky oil. I do like sticky oil here. Whoopsies. Three, two, one. Sticky oil, quick pickup here by OnlyFangs. I think it's a good choice. We'll have to see if Spoon takes the oil as well. Yes, double oil. Are both players just gonna like... That'd be crazy if both players put oil like right here and right here. Just nobody is allowed to move. We'll have to see where OnlyFangs places his... Oh, well, basically the same thing. Everybody's running slow from now on. Alright. Typhoons would massively... or would be much, much stronger if they had the ability to increase their range. I think it's actually a good thing that they don't have increased range, but that would be very, very powerful. A couple more marksmen here for Spoon, just to try and cut down on these Typhoons. He doesn't really need to worry about these crawlers too much at this point. Though I will say that Spoon's wave clear is pretty weak. I think OnlyFangs has realized that, and that's why he's adding on a couple more crawlers here and there. Is it going to be... Wow! Actually adding on quite a few crawlers. Missile. This missile is... Spoon's. Okay. Not a bad way to spend the 50. It will clear off 1 unit of crawlers. Is that worth it? Probably not. But hey, if you don't know what else you're going to spend the money on, you might as well spend it. Shield comes down. It won't really help too much. It will absorb some damage, possibly, for these Typhoons. Possibly. Well, yeah, those crawlers are alone and without a prayer. This might actually work a little bit better in Spoon's favor, having all of his units be slowed down. Because they have the range, they can just get in there and deal the damage. Typhoons are doing their best. They're not great damage dealers, though. Able to deal with a ton of the chaff, but is there enough here to deal with the remaining marksmen? Possibly. Looks like it. The right flank has gone very much in Spoon's favor, though. OnlyFangs in a pretty tough position. Wow, these marksmen able to actually start taking out the Typhoons. Oof. That's gotta hurt. OnlyFangs needs some range. Spoon's army is very condensed. Very, very condensed. Having something that could just get in there and deal a ton of damage would be very powerful. From range, that is. Spoon takes the Vulcan. Yeah, that pretty much seals the deal of this flank. What does OnlyFans pick up? He could pick up this Phoenix and then just sell it. And then possibly go into some Stormcallers or Scorpions. Something that has a very long range and can deal splash damage. Oh, he grabs the Vulcan as well. I mean, granted, if the Vulcan comes here and burns off all of these Fang, it's pretty powerful, but what's the follow-up? There just isn't really any damage to follow this up with. The Typhoons can do damage if they're given enough time. And I mean, like, a lot of time. There's the Stormcallers we've been waiting on. We do have the possibility of fire on these Stormcallers. I don't think it's the right choice, but we have the possibility. Or a range increase. The range increase would be quite strong. Would it have been better if these guys were level 2? Maybe. Only reason I say that is if the Stormcallers spend too much time hammering down on those sledgehammers, it would be annoying, but I think this is the right choice. Question is, does OnlyFangs have enough time to pull this off? I don't know. He's only at 1258 for his HP pool. He's definitely in the danger zone. Oh wow, he's spending all of the money. Even grabbing the running crawlers. Ooh, and he's just going to pull his army away. Okay. Actually, this might be a very good choice. Ignite the oil. Most of the army's running. All of these Fang will die. Most of the marksmen should come in and die. Okay. And it looks like these crawlers... let's see where they break off. They might go after these marksmen. Yeah, they're going to avoid the flames. Well, except for that guy and those guys. Not a bad choice. Most of the Fang have been dealt with. Now the question is there enough damage for these marksmen and the Vulcan? 3 units of Stormcallers might be enough. Especially if this tower drops. Wow! That was a phenomenal play here by OnlyFangs. That's not a play you see very often. I personally probably would not have thought of that. I'm going to go so far as to say I definitely wouldn't have thought of that. Very well done here by OnlyFangs. Very, very well done. Ooh, tech, training, or amp core. I'd be surprised if we saw a pickup of the photon coating. It would be pseudo-decent. If there was like... oh, actually, it would be okay on that Sabertooth there, but probably not. I would be surprised if OnlyFangs did pick that up. Instead, it goes with the amp core. Okay. Oil here for Spoon. Spoon's just going to try and cut down this flank again. Given how well that last little runaround worked, I wouldn't be surprised if Only Fangs chooses to run again. Get those units out of there. Lots of shielding. Very, very damage-focused grouping of units here. I do think these Stormcallers would benefit hugely from that upgrade, just because they need to get through this level 2 Vulcan and this super heavy, or vaguely heavy, Scorpion. We'll see what he chooses to do, though. Instead, upgrading the Typhoon to level 2. Okay, it does give them extra shield. That's 20,000 shielding. Is it going to be enough, though? I don't know. He grabs the speed and the range. Missile comes down. I think that is Spoon's missile. Yes, it is. Oh, it does Only Fang run? No, he's running straight through the fire. Oh, that's going to be devastating. Without that crawler support, I don't think Only Fangs is going to be in a good position. Even with these Overlords. The Overlords are going to be in a really difficult position. All of these Fang are going to stop outside of the damage range. Stormcallers are doing an okay job here, able to put in quite a bit of damage onto the shielding. Here comes the Overlord, but it's way out of line. Yeah, is it gonna hit the tower? It doesn't even shoot. Yeah, I think that's it here for Only Fangs. He needs to take out this Vulcan. He'll probably get the Vulcan. And he does. So there should be enough damage here to kill him, but oh man, those missile interceptors making a big difference. I suppose that's probably why he didn't upgrade the Stormcallers. Without that Stormcaller support, though, he's gone. GG, Only Fangs. GG.